Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. Today with your host, Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at CrackingCryptocurrency.com. Hopefully everybody watching is doing absolutely fantastic wherever you happen to be in the world and wherever you happen to be tuning into the show, whether you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, DLive. Actually, that's it. That's all we're streaming to now. I always forget that, right? The Investor News Channel. We're still a partner over there, but still. Hopefully you guys are doing awesome. We've got a great day in the markets today. It's February 3rd, 2022. We're going to be breaking down quite a few things today in today's live stream. We are going to be talking about, first off, we're going to be talking about overall market dynamics, where the market is. We're going to be talking about why is cryptocurrency dipping, main reasons for this. We're also going to be doing our technical analysis and going over trade strategy for Bitcoin and also some of the major altcoins as well, the weekly and daily charts. But we'll also kind of zoom in and look at what's happening on the lower time frames to get an idea of what's going on and how we can best position ourselves to take advantage of these movements. We're going to be talking about Facebook's bad earnings. So one of the biggest stock market losses in the shortest period of time in all of history. We're going to be going over that. We're going to be talking a little bit about the kind of future for the cryptocurrency markets with the U.S. sending 3,000 more troops to NATO's eastern flank. So the pending crisis that's happening over in the Ukraine between the United States and Russia. We're going to be talking about El Salvador. We're also going to be talking about Arizona and their new legislation to introduce Bitcoin as legal tender. So stay tuned for all that. Before we start the show, this show is sponsored by you guys. It is made possible by the viewers. So if you enjoy the content, or even if you don't enjoy the content, I'd appreciate it if you just go ahead and slap a like on today's video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. We are here as often as possible doing technical analysis and educating individuals on how to best trade and position themselves in the market. Follow us if you're on Twitch or DLive, and make sure to join the Discord, discord.crackingcryptocurrency.com. Links are all in the description down below for anything you could possibly need. We're also going to be starting a giveaway. We're going to be doing a monthly giveaway because I do want to incentivize you guys beyond just providing good content. I want to financially incentivize you guys to help promote the channel, help share the content. So if you share this video on social media, or specifically if you retweet this video, if you retweet my tweet that I make every day before the show over on Twitter, we are going to put individuals into a drawing to earn, I think we're going to do $200. I got to double check on that. I got to check with the guys. I think it's $200, might be 150 of Bitcoin per month, or the option of a premium basic membership. So stay tuned for that, guys. It's going to be a good show. Let's dive right into this and let's get over into the main scene so we can start breaking the charts down. All right, starting off with a big market overview. Here we are down on the 15, but let's kind of drill out. All right, let's just take a look at the weekly. It has been a good week for cryptocurrencies. Obviously, we've had some big bounce backs. Notable mentions here are obviously going to be Tezos and Maker. QNT is not a coin that I frequently trade. I don't know if I've actually ever traded QNT, but it is up there. It's actually leading the ranks at 37.2%. Tezos up 30.7% so far this week, and Maker up 20.8%. So with the bounce of Bitcoin, we have seen altcoins fire back up as well, as we often will. So good bounce, good dip buying opportunity, good bounce back. On the daily, things are not looking very good. Obviously, QNT, Lone Ranger here kind of up in the double digits, up 10%. Hedera Hashgraph, Cosmos, my favorite coin to trade in altcoin land, is up 2.4%. Nexo and Hex and SFM, not even really sure honestly what SFM is. Safe Moon V2. This is why I don't really kind of dispose with that. But anyways, but overall, a relatively bad day for the rest of the markets as Bitcoin slumped and rejected from the baseline yesterday, which we'll get into here in a minute. And as we can see, things aren't really getting any better on the lower time frames. Bitcoin obviously slipping, kind of potentially getting to an area of support on the lower time frames, but the rest of the market following right along with it and continuing to move down. So giving back some of their gains. Still, obviously, where are we at? We're still in bearish trends on just about everything on the higher time frames on weekly charts. So even with this bounce back, we're still not out of the woods yet. So profit taking and positioning for potentially another move to the downside. We will talk about that. All right. All right. Anyways, so getting over into now we're going to move into some technical analysis for Bitcoin. So we're going to start off on the weekly, just keeping you guys updated with my current hypothesis. Just a second here, guys. Sorry about that. Okay. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay. All right. Yeah. So shout out to everybody in the chat. I see Cornholio. I see Turbo 96 Stang. I see RL, Panda View, and Chili Lime, at least over there between the Twitch D Live and YouTube's. Why clickbait titles? Yes, it's the YouTube algorithm. I have made over, what is it? I've made over 1,000. Yeah, it's almost 1,000. I've done over 1,000 live streams. I was just checking the analytics the other day. So I've done almost, no, it's not over. It's almost 1,000 live streams. And when you have to come up with a title every single day, it's exhausting, man. So yeah, obviously people don't see the content if the YouTube algorithm doesn't pick it up. So it is what it is, man. It's just, hopefully you guys stay for the content, click for the title, stay for the content. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, so here we have Bitcoin continuing to consolidate on the weekly time frame at the 100 weekly moving average. So as I've kind of pointed out ad nauseum, this is a pattern that I've noticed in Bitcoin going back quite a while. So the pattern is after reaching a new all-time high, we correct down to the weekly 55 exponential moving average. We bounce. Actually happens twice in 2018 as we were coming down from 19,000. Then we correct down to the 100 weekly moving average. We bounce weaker. We consolidate and then break down. This is actually the longest consolidation in 2018 that we had. Everybody remembers that time. Hopefully everybody that's still here from back in that time. We were still live streaming at this time. We were actually live streaming the moment that Bitcoin broke down and tore through. You guys can go back and look on the live stream. I think that was actually a good one. Old times, man. But anyways, and then again, we see this occur in 2019 when we peaked in the summer. We correct down to the 55 weekly bounce, correct down to the 100 weekly bounce, correct down to the 200 weekly moving average, which is where we ultimately consolidate and gear up for the next bull market. And again, we're experiencing that same thing played out over a wider period of time here in 2021, 2022. So again, we peaked in the Q1, moving into the beginning of spring in 2021, correct down to the 55 weekly exponential moving average, pretty significant bounce up into the fall of 2021, and then correction back down to the 100 weekly exponential moving average, where I do expect that we are going to bounce $47,000 coming up to these bands, these slower moving EMAs as resistance, and then ultimately correcting down to the 200 weekly moving average. Again, I'm not putting I have no bets on whether it ends above, on whether it ends below, exactly how far below, but expecting a pretty good range. You can see here we wicked down pretty far in 2020. And then also, obviously, in 2019, we consolidated underneath it for quite a while. So going below the weekly 200 is almost assuredly. You can use a different chart. You can use slightly, like a slightly different moving average, like a 200 weighting moving average or a 200 simple moving average. But again, I just prefer the EMAs. So let's actually, if we switch this over to let's switch this over to a simple moving average. There we go. Simple moving average catches it a little bit better. We still wick below it with the March meltdown that occurred in 2020, obviously, when BitMEX went offline, but we do consolidate above it. So the 200 weekly moving average has been very important, very historically for Bitcoin. So that is exactly the kind of same maneuver that I'm playing out. Now, the weekly 200, the 200 weekly exponential moving average is up around $25,000. We do see that the weekly 200 simple moving average is coming in around 19,000. So still kind of a movement down to 20,000, still a pretty big significant correction from where we're currently sitting. That is another 50% drop, 45% drop. So again, being prepared for this, being in stable coins, dollar cost averaging in your positions as we move forward over the next year is going to be very important for you to survive the bear market and be well prepared for the next kind of the next cycle, which again, none of this, all of these are probability waves. It's entirely possible that Bitcoin does not repeat this pattern that we push up from here. Let me take a sip from my poison here. That we push up from here and continue on with the bull market. But just given all the kind of big macroeconomic factors, we've never really had anything like this with the Fed tapering rates, with the Fed tapering buybacks, with the Fed raising rates, with the United States and Russia potentially aimed to go to war, kind of looking at a World War III scenario, the Omicron scare, the coronavirus. We never really had this many global economic factors occurring during a significant Bitcoin correction. All right. So we did have the Omicron fears. We had the COVID fears over here in the summer of 2021 correction, but we didn't have those. We didn't have the same kind of potential World War III and everything else that's going on in the world happening right now. And in addition to the Fed significantly changing, obviously it's not significant. We typically experience up years during the years where they raise rates. We've also not experienced a situation where we've switched from expansion of the monetary supply by almost 50% to now potentially war, to a global pandemic, to raising rate, right? This has never occurred before. So every moment in the market is unique, and we're all in this together. Wag me, as they like to say in the crypto world, guys. We're all going to make it. So if we stick together and try to keep our heads about us. So moving over to how can we actually trade this, like frequently trading on the daily, the way that I kind of do is my bread and butter. Let's open up the daily time frame. We're going to be using 3 of our proprietary indicators here. We're using the baseline. In this case, the baseline is set to a 26 period Donchian. This is Parallax. It's going to be our trend confirmation indicator, and then time transformation, which is our momentum oscillator, our primary trend confirmation indicator, and also tells us when there is divergence in the market, and also when there is overbought, oversold thresholds that we need to pay attention to. So as we can see, Bitcoin chugged up right along following this nice buy signal from time transformation, chugged up right along to the 26 period Donchian and corrected. So yesterday, as I talked about in the premium mentoring session, so every Wednesday, for you guys who don't know, we do a private mentoring session for all the premium members where they can get access to my thoughts, where they can share their ideas, where I try to showcase new ideas and trading strategies before I talk about them on the show. Or make content about them. So let's delete these kind of ugly looking lines. Anyways, Bitcoin marches up to the 26 period Donchian, and what happens? We correct. So I posted about this on Tuesday evening when I posted the short position that I took. Now keep in mind, I also am established in a weekly long position and will be DCAing into that weekly long position kind of as we're in this area. However, the daily short position was the trade to take, as I posted on Tuesday evening. Well, Tuesday evening for me, I guess, Tuesday morning or whatever for other people. But as the market closed, so for me, that's 4 p.m. now here on the Western seaboard, not really on the Western seaboard. I'm in the mountains. I'm in the mountain seaboard. I'm in the mountain zone. But anyways, Bitcoin rallying up here to the 26 period Donchian. The trade to take when we're in an established trend, when the market corrects, when the asset corrects back to our baseline. The baseline we are using as average price, and the Donchian is a fantastic tool for this because the Don chain is really the it's the high divided by the low, right? It's high low divided by 2, so it's HL2. So it is almost it's a fantastic baseline because it really is the average, the middle of the trend, right? So it's essentially a reversion to the mean strategy. If we consider the Donchian or the baseline here, the average price, there's lots of ways to get average price. You've got volume weighted average price, the VWAP, you've got volume weighted moving averages, you've got all different types of methods and structures. And it doesn't really matter, honestly, in my opinion, what you use. Everybody kind of gets into this dick measuring contest about which indicator is better or which trading strategy is better. But none of that is going to really matter to you, the individual pressing the buy and sell buttons on the chart. The thing that matters is that you do what you understand and that you do it consistently. And if you can just do that, you'll make money. And then once you're making money, the only thing that you need to do is optimize your performance. You'll notice the holes in your strategy if you actually take the time to trade it. And if you trade it consistently, you'll just know. If you keep a journal, if you're organized, if you keep track of what you're doing, you'll do okay. And as long as you have a positive mindset and you continue to grow. If you are focused on get rich quick schemes or hacks or blah, 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 you're likely not going to make this out. And that's okay. I was focused on productivity hacks, not productivity hacks, but I was focused on hacks and the best indicators for a long time. And I lost a lot of money overall. And it wasn't until I kind of pulled my head out of my ass, got a little bit organized and got more positive and actually put the work in and was consistent and disciplined that things started to turn around. And now they've been good for quite a while. So hopefully you guys can learn from that. Anyways, so when the market corrects back up to our baseline, we typically want to use that as an opportunity to take the trade in the direction the price was currently going. If price is trending strongly to the downside and price rallies back up to the baseline and shows signs of weakness, then we want to enter into that short position. And that's exactly what we did here. We did get a nice follow through, again, 4.64% movement following that short position. Actually added to my short position at the close. No, excuse me, I did that. That would be incorrect. I did not add to my short position at the close of the daily candle. I actually added to my short position earlier this morning. So a little bit of opportunity loss. I could have got another 1% out of the market so far, a little bit more intraday. But we did have the continuation signal. So the kind of further confirmation that we should be trading in the short side. And that is the crossover from our momentum oscillator. So we see that time transformation crosses over. We see the fast line cross underneath the slow line right here. And that is going to be in conjunction with price moving up to our baseline. and showing signs. Showing signs of weakness is subjective, right? So we can just say it's very common that we see kind of Bitcoin just crawl up and then just boom with a big green candle. And we might be telling a different story had that happened. Of course, we had that established long position, so we would have just closed out the losing leg of the trade in that point in time, because that would have been confirmation of an uptrend. However, and that's not what happened. We did get the rejection and the crossover. So adding to daily shorts was totally valid at this point in time. We've already hit take profit 1. On yesterday's candle. So our stop loss could be moved to break even. So you can add to your position and continue to keep your stop loss right there at that, at your new average entry point, so that you don't make money, so you don't lose money on this trade. Recap here, we'll be continuing to dollar cost average into our long position in this area. And it's going to take a close below the weekly 100 exponential moving average for us to reevaluate that and just consider that a loss, puke that position, then probably just increase our short positions at that point in time, or our stablecoin position. So, let's talk about positioning for the weekly upside. I still think the safe place to be here until we get some big significant changes here is to still have a good hefty portion of your assets in stablecoins, at least 30%. Right now, that's my allocation. 30% of my assets are in stablecoins. I am farming those stablecoins on SpiritSwap on the Phantom network. So for you guys, if you guys are interested in that or would like to kind of follow along with what I'm doing, then I highly recommend that you guys kind of avoid Tether. And I'm honestly making an attempt. So I've been, as much as I've been critical of Tether, I've been a heavy user of Tether for the last 2-3 years. Yeah, I have been. I've really used Tether a lot. In fact, our main trading pair for our automated strategies are USDT, but I'm making a concentrated effort to move away from Tether. I'm going to make a renewed effort to start trading more Bitcoin pairs instead of Tether pairs. And so right now I am making a concentrated effort to really move from USDT into USDC and UST, which is the Terra Luna stablecoin. A lot of cool opportunities on with the Terra Luna stablecoin. You can utilize the Anchor protocol right now to make about 19% APY. So if you're just sitting in stablecoins, if you have your funds in stablecoins, throw them on the Anchor protocol and get that 19.6% APY. It makes absolute sense. You can also do what I'm doing on SpiritSwap to farm the USDC pools on the Phantom network. So really cool, very cheap to take your USDC from Ethereum and bridge it over using any swap to Phantom. And then from there, you'll have your USDC and you'll just simply move it to SpiritSwap and get some nice APY. So that's one strategy to make some passive income, or to make income that you can reinvest back into crypto while the market is moving to the downside. And then with the rest of your allocations, you want to kind of move at this point or earlier. I mean, honestly, the best time to do this is not necessarily right at this moment. It's that as the market progresses, as the market is moving up, is that you're taking profits and that you're moving them into stable coins when you feel the market's getting overvalued. And so that you're prepared to either buy dips, that you're either prepared to allocate those those stable coins into low risk assets, right? So there's nothing wrong. Like, I continue to hold a significant portion of my wealth in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And so I'm going to continue to hold those in my long-term portfolio as the market corrects, because I feel very strongly that the market will go higher than this, right? Eventually. It might take me a year, it might take 3 years, it might take 5. But I'm relatively young and I'm in this for the long haul. So, and honestly, this was one of the things that really helped me. Like, when I put my nose down and just ground it out for a couple of years, I was able to invest into cryptocurrency, and that has been good for me, right? And this is an opportunity that's going to continue to present itself, right? The stock market has done this for the last 100 years, right? If you just buckle down and do the work, you can set yourself up for life. It just takes work. It takes patience. It takes discipline. It takes doing the thing. Right. And it takes not freaking out and trading against your strategy. So dollar cost averaging into your mainstays: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Avalanche, Phantom, which I think is incredibly undervalued. I keep talking about Phantom, but Luna, Cosmos, Polygon, and take your pick, like whatever, Cardano, it doesn't matter. Whatever you have a strong conviction in, that you think is going to fundamentally help and change the world. And there's a lot of great things happening on cryptocurrency. Dollar cost average into those positions, but just understand understand the risk of the project, right? So for things like, for example, for things like USDC and UST, I would consider those extremely low to zero risk, right? They're pegged to the stable of the dollar coin. Circle's not going anywhere anytime soon. Tether might go away. Terra Luna has massive VC backing, so it's highly unlikely that that's going anywhere now. And Terra Luna also isn't trying to compete with the other Ethereum killers to be a cheaper, faster Ethereum. You know, Terra Luna really is kind of unique in the fact that they're their main purpose is to disrupt fintech. You know, as opposed to Phantom, Avalanche, and Cardano that are trying to be cheaper, faster Ethereums. So, you know, your stable coins that you can farm and earn APY on, those are going to be like zero risk to extremely low risk. And then you've got your low risk investments, right? Your things like Bitcoin, your things like Ethereum. You know, and nowadays, some might even, you know, put things like Avalanche, and people might put things like Cardano into those buckets. Then you've got your kind of higher risks, you know, like maybe your L2s, right? Or your some of your decentralized protocols like Uniswap, right? And then you can take, you know, so, you know, understanding your risk buckets and your portfolio allocations as you're constructing your portfolio and as you're reorganizing your portfolio, and having that, you know, set up to earn you money as the market moves down, and also lose you less money than having all your funds in these high risk shit coins like Shiba Inu and Dogecoin, for example. Those are not what you want to be holding in your portfolio right now, in my opinion. So, okay, let's move to back to the daily. All right, so daily turnover, market continuing to move down, following the continuation signal for the short side. So that is the active trade that we're in. And again, that is the way that the market is still trading. Did you miss your opportune time to enter if you're not into a short? Yes. Is establishing a short here a bad idea? I would not say so. We can lose momentum and the market can reverse up here, and we can close above this daily baseline, which at this point in time might be giving us the kind of confirmation signal that we want to see from Parallax to actually be going long in the first place. And that's okay. You're going to have a losing short trade and you're going to have a winning long trade. So this is just the way the game plays. You're never going to win every single trade. You might only win 50% of your trades, and that's okay. As long as your risk management and your consistency is there, you can extract profit from the market. All right. So moving out from the daily, let's go into the 4-hour time frame and look at what the super duper demon strategy is. And actually, we're going to switch to the 3 because we do operate the super duper demon strategy on the 3-hour time frame for Bitcoin. All right, so super duper demon strategy for Bitcoin had us in a pretty sizable short, great trade moving down. Depending on how you were taking profits, it didn't really matter where you took profits. And then we did flip to the long side here. Pretty much at the bottom of the range, and that's right where we're at right now. Now, we have not crossed the 200 period double exponential moving average, which is the qualifier for this particular strategy, but we are getting pretty close. So with an aggressive strategy, we'd actually be taking a short position once price kind of crosses below that $36,134 mark. But right now, those longs can actually be held and chilling. So let's go down to the lower time frames and see what Bitcoin's doing here. We are going to be looking at my ISA spot, and then we're also going to be looking at Bitcoin exchanges consolidated across all volume. And as we can see, Bitcoin has just pretty much following kind of the big move down, just tanked, and we're down here. But if we zoom out, it's going to be kind of difficult. We're really just here. It's going to be a little bit easier to see if I just switch to the 4-hour and show you guys here. Okay. So as you guys can see here, we're not, we're still inside trading ranges. We haven't broken new lows. And we're still in this big value area. So because we've established this big value area, it's unlikely that we're going to break immediately down from this right away. So I do think that we are going to consolidate here, correct. I would like to see a higher low above 34,500. I'd like to see this area maintained and then price move up. But it's all going to depend on the individual liquidity and who presses the button at those points in time. Lower time frame scalping opportunities, I would actually be a buyer right now on the 5-minute time frame. I just got an ISA spot signal on the last. Just the probabilities on these are really good. So we got the 5-minute buy signal right over here. Market's dipped a little bit, so we actually have a little bit better entry, looking to take price back up to retest this value area, at least at the $36,800 mark. So you got about a pretty significant move there. Market's been pretty volatile lately. Yeah, so you got a 1% trade there on the table, I think. Intraday for the bulls or the scalpers. That's what I'd be looking at. Okay, so that is Bitcoin for the day. Let me know what you guys think. If you have comments, I'm always interested to hear your guys' opinions or kind of how you guys are positioning yourselves in the market as well. Let's move also. Okay. Okay, before we move into the news of the day and talking about, we're going to actually pull up crypto bubbles here. This is pretty much what we're going to have. Before we move into kind of the news of the day and talking about kind of the goings on in cryptocurrency, which we kind of already did. Obviously, just quick self-promotion. As you guys know, or as you guys might not know, we do run the premium trading group where premium members do get access to all our buy and sell signals. They get access to our premium indicator suite, our market analysis, as well as all our online educational material, access to our online trading academy, including the Pathways to Profit course, which is a strategy creation guide, teaches you how to create a strategy from the ground up, gives you everything you need to hit the market running. If you guys are interested in that, you can find out all the information at premium.crackencryptocurrency.com. Link should be, I always do this wrong. It's like right up there. Why do I? It's because of the reverse on my candle. You guys will see the link up there, but it is premium.crackencryptocurrency.com. And if you're ever interested to see any of our trading results, you guys can check those out at results.crackencryptocurrency.com. We've published all of our trading results for the last 3 years. And yeah, they're all on there. So I did make a nice post about my results from last month, and we try to be as transparent and honest as possible. So this is actually probably a good time to talk about that. So let's pull up. Okay, I can't do it in this. So results.crackencryptocurrency.com is going to bring you right here. So analyst signals, and we'll go to official signals. 2021, I want to kind of bring this up to soften the blow. 2022. So here's January 2022. January was not a good month for me as a trader. I lost 5.84% of my portfolio, which amounted to $16,635.33. My accuracy was 20%. My risk to reward ratio was 0.66. But the thing that I did like and that I'm pretty proud of is that my market alpha was 13.09, which means that my strategy made 13% more money in the month of January than a buy and hold strategy for Bitcoin. So I still outperformed the market and protected myself. I lost a lot less money than I would have if I would have just held Bitcoin. We can actually zoom in here and see all the trades. And you know, there's a big reason for this, as you guys will see, right? I didn't really trade very much last month, right? You know, I'm doing a lot of work on the website. I'm doing a lot of development. So, you know, I started off the month with $284,990, and I ended the month with $268,354.67. I had one winning trade out of 5, and that was Luna USDT. And then you can see I took a Bitcoin long, an algo long. So again, I was trading to the long side when I really shouldn't have been. I was trading to the long side when I absolutely should not have been. I got lucky with the Luna, and then I was just kind of busy again, I was a little disorganized in January. And I shouldn't have been, right? And I paid for it. But again, I was able to notice that my trades weren't winning. You guys can see like my trades essentially just kind of fell off toward the end of the month. So we have one winning trade on the 5th and 3 losing trades on the 6th, right? And then the last trade I closed out on the first day of February. So I just saw that that this strategy, which is a little bit more biased to the long side, wasn't really operating well. And I knew I just didn't have the time or the patience to operate. So what I did, besides this, what this isn't showing is the money that I made from my automated strategies that are running, like the Super Duper Demon strategy, the VWAP Double Bounce strategy, and a couple of my other automated strategies that I have running. These are just my manual and discretionary trades that I use. They're either so that some of them are discretionary. So my official signals are either discretionary or systematic. If they're systematic, they're coming from a trading strategy that I've created. If they're discretionary, that means I'm using technical analysis and research and fundamentals to attempt to predict the markets, which in my great months is good, in my bad months is not. All right, so let's soften the blow there a little bit. Never a good. Yeah, Justin, let's sign up and lose money. I love it. But in December, all right, I did make 11.22%. I earned $31,983.25. Accuracy was 80%. My risk was 1.63. My market alpha, I beat the market by 37%. So, regardless of what Warren Buffett says, this is impossible. But I don't know. I've been pretty good with beating the market consistently. So, and I think it's not from being arrogant. It's just from being consistent. That's it. You just put the work in and you stay consistent. So any users, let's move right along. And then you can see I ended with 316,000. I did extract some, I pulled some money out of my trading account because that's how I pay my bills. And that's why I started off the month of February, the month of January, about $20,000 poorer. Wasn't poorer, but had to buy some liabilities. You know what I mean? Anyways. Okay. We've got this all the way zoomed in, which is not what I want to do. Okay. Now that we're back in regular land, let's talk about the goings on in the crypto world. So we can pull up the chart and look at it. I just really thought this was interesting. I've been kind of, where's random for needs? Here we go. So Facebook, we talked about this in the, so we want extended trading hours. So here's what I want to show you guys. As Facebook was coming to a close yesterday, let's actually, there we go. So as Facebook was coming to a close yesterday, this marks the last live candle of trading. Bad earnings were released post-market close, and Facebook dropped. What is this? I want to see this on the OHLC values. Oh no, I need to see change. Okay, 17.77% in one 5-minute candle, and in total over the period of 30 minutes. The market did fall. Let's see here. 23.87%, and for a total drop intraday of about 24.82%. So about 25% is the number that everybody's rounding to. That's fine. So Facebook drops 25% in 30 minutes. This is one of the biggest and most destructive stock market, not stock market, but individual stock crashes of all time. At least for like not, I mean, obviously, we've seen penny stocks like go to zero in half a second. We see that happen with altcoins all the time, but in terms of money, in terms of just money just being evaporated from the books this quick, this is the big one, right? This is a big one. Now the scuttlebutt is obviously that their earnings were really terrible. So actually their earnings were lackluster in the last quarter, so Q4, their Q3 earnings were lackluster, so their Q4 earnings weren't really expected to be much better. They actually have lost quite a bit of money but you can consider that you can either view it as they lost money or that they haven't made money yet off of it. But they did allocate a lot of funds in Q4 into the into their Meta project, right? Which is going to be their big movement into the metaverse. And so they've allocated a lot of money and invested a lot of capital into the kind of research and development and acquisitions and all these kind of things, and that has not at all paid dividends yet. They've made very little money off of that right now. It's not like Facebook. It's not like Mark Zuckerberg or his board of directors is sitting around like trading shit coins. You know what I mean? Like they're not trading decentralized. So just because metaverse land, NFT sales and tokens have been performing very well, it doesn't mean that Facebook or Meta is making any money from it. So but yeah, just pretty destructive, because a lot of Zuckerberg's net worth is in Facebook stock. I think he lost like, what was it, 23 billion overnight or something like that. It was just absolutely ridiculous. So the other thing, and this was funny too, because this happened. So this happened yesterday, and we can see that the market, hasn't gotten any better, right? We just continued to drift down. But again, not with any of the volatility that we've seen. So it just kind of shows you this is after hours. So this is whales puking positions, right? So I think in general, I think this has a lot to do with, well, we'll get to this in the next story, but this might have to do more with the potential storm brewing on the horizon, and less to do with anything with Facebook individually. So, but Diem, which was originally the Libra project, which is Facebook's, or Meta now, their stablecoin project, got shut down by regulators. The interesting thing, though, is that this news came a day earlier, so this wasn't an immediate market reaction. It's possible that this is a reaction to that. But if I had to speculate, it's more likely that, and let me pull up, All right, so let's pull up. You know what? I want to do it in this browser so I don't get these stupid ads. There we go. Here we go, and I just got to make this equal now. There we go. Now back in OBS, let's switch this over to, yeah, I think that's the one. Cool. All right. So I think it might be a little bit more tied to this story, which is the fact that yesterday the United States decided to move 3,000 troops closer to Ukraine as the Russia crisis escalates. CNBC reports here. So the Pentagon is going to move some of its Europe-based forces further east and deploy additional U.S.-based troops to Europe as the crisis on Ukraine's border with Russia escalates. President Joe Biden will send 2,000 troops in the United States to Poland and Germany, while they will join other troops. Another 1,000 who are already in Europe will be moved to Romania. So listen, I'm no expert on global politics or international affairs, but this is probably one of the most important things that's happening right now on the world scene. We've had a really, humanity's had it kind of rough for the last few years. We've got growing privacy concerns. We've got the overreaching arm of governments pretty much all across the world. Unfortunately, in some pockets of the world, we've got the kind of unfortunate resurgence of despotism and tyranny. That is kind of crushing the boot of liberty and freedom down, or crushing their boot down on the throat of liberty and freedom that it was starting to blossom in some of the worst parts of the world. And overall, I'm hopeful that will continue to grow. But we just store, it's just kind of like a chart, guys. You see asset prices rise, they get overvalued, and then they correct, right? And I think the same thing happens with like humanity's societal progress and overall kind of societal evolution. We have these spurts of growth, right? And we make new all-time highs where we've got greater freedom and greater liberty and greater technology. And then we just kind of get scared and kind of cloister back down and make mistakes and hurt people and kill people. And it's just going to, I think it's just a side effect of the fact that, like mortality is a thing, right? And greed is a thing. Like, I was just thinking about this yesterday, the fact that the Bitcoin network works so well because it's algorithm, it's an algorithm based, so the consensus algorithm for Bitcoin is heavily based on human greed. Right. Without that kind of minor incentive and protocol incentive for individuals to be honest out of their own personal financial interest, I don't think that Bitcoin would have been nearly as successful as it could have been. I think it wouldn't be what it is today. Certainly wouldn't be Bitcoin. And is that depressing? Like, is it the fact that greed is that greed is like a fundamental part of human nature? This is going to piss off like people who really lean toward the left to think that we can completely eradicate greed. Now, I don't think that you can. If you really look at the way that the universe works, right? Look at how suns consume energy. Look at how black holes devour everything around them. Look at just everything absorbs energy from everything else, and everything tries to grow. And that's because everything has to die. It's just the nature of it's the finite nature of the universe, because everything has an individual existence, and everything kind of has to come to an end. And you could consider entities that have self-awareness of their mortality, of their finiteness, have a vested interest unless they're just silly, to grow and do better. And often that's going to mean, in a world of finite resources, that for some to win, some have to lose, right? Now, we can soften the blow as much as we can. And I think that as technology increases and as we can move towards a more resource-based economy with the production of, as we transition away from having a world entirely fueled and funded by finite resources, and as we use technology and ingenuity to base our world and economy off of renewable resources in a sustainable way, this is all going to get a lot better. But it's not going to remove, unless maybe we will. I'm hopeful that we will eventually, like, somehow crack the law of nature or move into an existentially new, different type of existence, or evolve, or whatever it might be, or or unplug ourselves from the matrix, whatever it might be. Until that changes, if the fundamental nature of the universe is of finitude, that the universe will eventually end, and that everything will end eventually, whether that's a as physics would say, as the heat death, right? So a complete dispersion into pure entropy. or excuse me, a complete dispersion into low entropy or no entropy, or whether that's just the fact that regardless of what the universe does, everything inside of it is going to die. I don't think that fundamental nature is going to change. So that just makes Bitcoin a lot more beautiful, right? It is a world financial system. It is a replacement to the current systems of centralized power that we have that is based on the same concepts of greed, but it just decentralizes control, right? And it builds a foundation for growth that could potentially be eternal. Right. So anyways, so I think this might be so I feel so this is a conspiracy theory, but think about this, right? So we know that there's a lot of like over leveraging happening in the stock market, right? So it's potential that we're going to see lots of asset prices get puked by individuals because of the potential ramifications of the United States increasing this conflict in the East with Russia. So, excuse me, I'm not exactly sure how this is all going to play out. And there's no way that I could predict which way the markets would respond, but I will give my educated guess. I think that if America, if any country, I think that if the situation in Ukraine intensifies, then likely stock market prices are going to tumble because that is going to increase fear in the market. And the markets can remain, obviously fear is when you want to be buying. And so going back to my original thesis, this is a good time to begin dollar cost averaging into the market, but you don't want to be emptying your clip here. And so here's the thing, right? I know a lot of you watching this have already probably been dollar cost averaging into cryptocurrency, right? And your clips are already emptied. Now I could tell you to go ahead and sell here and buy back down 50% later, 50% lower in Bitcoin, but you're likely not going to, right? So here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to puke your position 40% down lower, right? If we get 40% down lower, you're in it. If we get 20% down lower, you're holding, right? If we get 30% lower, you're hodling, right? You just got to adopt that hodl mentality or you're screwed. And you'll be okay. But what you should be doing, right? If you've already emptied your clip, right? If you're not the savviest investor, if you're not the savviest trader, if you've already puked your position, not puked your position, but if you've already emptied your clip, you've already bought as much crypto as you can, right? And now you're like, oh my God, this dude's saying it's going to go down to 50%. I don't know what to do. Buckle down and earn as much money as you can over the next year doing whatever you need to do, whether that's a side hustle, whether that is working more hours, whether that's picking up more shifts, whether that's potentially making a job switch. If you can moving somewhere that's cheaper to live, all of those things that you can do to increase your spendable income per month, that is one of the best things that you could possibly do to begin positioning yourselves for the next bull market. Okay. Use that extra money to dollar cost average into cryptocurrency as we move down. And then you'll be positioned, right? Again, a couple years of hard, this is I don't want to sound like a shill or like I'm crazy, dude, but it's really true, dude. A couple years of hard work and saving money and then putting that money into cryptocurrency can set you up for life, right? And there's so many edges and opportunities now. You've got layer ones, you've got layer twos, you got NFTs, you got DeFi, you got DAOs, you got it's nuts, right? And it's crazy and it's not going anywhere, right? Like crypto, it doesn't matter how far down we go. It doesn't matter how much the market crashes. It doesn't matter what the government does. Like cryptocurrency is not going anywhere, right? The underlying technology is not going anywhere. We're too established. We're too instantiated. We're too agile. That's another thing. We're too agile, right? Some of the best developers are working in cryptocurrency and more every single day. New jobs are being created every single day. New projects are launching every single day. And this is good. It increases competition. It increases opportunity. It increases innovation. And, we can't stop. All right. So I don't know, Cybernetics. Do you know what happened the last time that the United States deployed their Air Force in force? Like we took out, again, my partner's son was just explaining this to me the other day. Desert Storm. We took out the Iraqi Air Force in like a day, right? A ball, decimated them. And they were the 5th largest Air Force in the world, right? Largest Air Force in the world, United States. United States Air Force. 2nd largest Air Force, United States Navy. So yeah, I don't know. Not that you're wrong. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that, yeah, we're dangerous men. Okay, let's get into, let's move into my next topic here. Here we go. Okay, this is going to be coming from news.bitcoin.com. All right, so El Salvadorian president believes that 2 more countries will adopt Bitcoin as legal tender this year. Okay, and obviously, like, you could say like, well, like, what does he know? I mean, are you the president of a country? All right, so Bitcoin predictions 2022 by President Bukele. So the president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, tweeted on January 1st his 6 predictions relating to Bitcoin for the year of 2022. El Salvador made Bitcoin legal tender alongside the United States dollar in September of last year. First, he expects the price of Bitcoin to reach $100,000. Second, he believes that 2 more countries will adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. He continues to go on here that Bitcoin will become a major electoral issue in United States elections this year. That Bitcoin City will commence construction. For those of you guys who don't know, Bitcoin City is this. It's like all that. I can neither confirm nor deny whether it's being built yet, but the money is there, the plans are there, the island's been purchased. Volcano bonds will be oversubscribed. In huge surprise at the Bitcoin conference. So I think, we say this every year, but it's an exciting year for Bitcoin. It's an exciting year for cryptocurrency. And, although I'm not team Nayib here. Is he wearing a hat backwards in his Twitter profile picture? This dude's the president of a country. Anyways, the world's crazy, man. Don't sleep on this, man. Okay. And finally, kind of right along that same line, the last thing I want to talk about today as positive macros for Bitcoin. Here we go. Coming from invez.com. The Arizona state senator has proposed the use of Bitcoin as legal tender. So the senator for Arizona wants to make Bitcoin legal tender in the state, and he has already introduced a bill to legalize the use of Bitcoin as legal tender in the state of Arizona. Okay. So super cool, man. Super, super cool. We already had good stuff coming from Wyoming. I made, this was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe, where I made a video about Wyoming being kind of the new tax haven for cryptocurrency in the United States. So go back and check that video if you want. God, I bet that's aged like, maybe it's aged like fine wine. But really exciting stuff coming here. And just, again, adoption's continuing to grow. So looking at the chart of Bitcoin, it's easy to get scared. Talking about 50% corrections, it's easy to get scared. Boom. Looking at this chart and saying that, hey, we're gonna end up bottoming somewhere around here, which we have historically done. It's easy to get scared, but here's the thing: like, at any, like, this is one thing I've learned in crypto, man. It's easy to get scared. 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 All right. So what's the difference between these 2 dots? Excuse me, actually, just this dot right here and these 4 dots. Okay. So what's the difference between this dot and these 5 dots? All right. So these 5 dots are all times when the market peaked, and following their corrections, everyone thought Bitcoin was done. Okay. Bitcoin's been declared dead like 1,000 times. The only difference is that if you just continue to hold, you made money, right? And it's not just about making money. It's about Bitcoin growing as a network and Bitcoin growing as a technology. So the only difference between these 5 dots and this dot here is that it hasn't happened yet. Okay. It just hasn't happened yet. All right. Been doing Bitcoin since 2016, and it's done one thing. It's done one consistent thing since 2016. It's gone up, right? And it was going up long before I ever got involved. So, and there's a reason for that. It's not because at its heart, it's a speculative financial vehicle. It's because at its heart, it is a world-changing revolutionary technology that is going to fundamentally change the way we live life. So those who get that. All right, let's take a few moments and do some chat engagement. Look at that 4-hour bounce. Look at that. Oh my God. Nice move. 1% move. I just said, did I not just talk about being a buyer right here for the long scalp, for the 1% trade? And there it happens in one candle, following that ISIS spot buy signal right there. Just beautiful, man. The last ISIS spot buy signal gave us 1% trade too. So good stuff, man. Yeah, so let me pull up the chat and spend a few moments with you guys, and then I'm going to go have my lunch. Okay, let's see here. Christian Zeladon says, Justin, the main question is Bitcoin going to correct through 31K to 28K to 27K to 25K? I'm not sure. I mean, those are prices that we're historically probably going to hit. Yeah. 2 p.m. start. Yeah, listen, so, I've just trying out different things, guys. I want to be consistent. I know the daily live stream is supposed to start at 1 p.m. Eastern time. It's just not a fantastic time for me, but, we're going to try it. We're going to try and make that. Cornholio says, do I trust third-party websites to put stables on, not to be hacked? Listen, it's always going to be a matter of your risk preference and tolerance. The nice thing about the Anchor protocol with Terra Luna is I would say that's been battle tested. You can obviously listen. One of your best options then, if you want the safest thing you could probably do, it's probably going to be for Ethereum on Curve Finance, and then you can take your you lock up your stable coins, take your Curve, lock up your Curve in Convex, get Convex token, right? Like that whole thing, right? That's people have been doing that for a long time, man. And I think that's pretty good, dude. Here's what you don't want to be doing, right? What you don't want to be doing is, in my opinion, looking for. So, okay, here's a good story. All right, here's a good thing. We're talking about third-party websites, right? So recently, a good friend of mine educated me about Tomb, all right, on the Phantom network, right? This whole idea of a stable coin that's pegged to the native token of a chain. So DAI is tethered. So DAI is pegged, right, to the value of $1, right, through the lockup of Ethereum. Okay. Tomb is a different idea. Tomb is a stable coin that's pegged to the value of one Phantom, right, on the Phantom blockchain. Okay. So there's a couple reasons for this, and they're all good reasons. Tomb's wildly successful. Okay. So one reason is that because Phantom is a validator network, right? You've got a significant portion of the Phantom that's locked up liquidity-wise in validator pools. Okay, so that's not usable, right? It's not transactable on the network, and that Phantom's valuable, and it's useful, right? It does things, just like Ethereum's useful. It does things. So if you have a stable coin that's pegged to the value of the native token, you have twice as much liquidity to do things with on the network. Okay, cool. You can create new pools and create new things and create new money markets and all of the stuff that people who use DeFi love. Now, the way that it operates is through an incentive program. So Tomb trades on the open market, the Tomb token. And when the value of Tomb is greater than the value of one Phantom, what happens is for individuals who have purchased Tomb, so you buy Tomb, and then you have Phantom, and you go to Spooky Swap, which is the largest decentralized exchange on the Phantom network, right? It's the Uniswap of Phantom. And you provide liquidity to the Tomb Phantom pair, right? Liquidity has to be there for the markets to exist. This is how decentralized exchanges work, right? So for providing liquidity, you get liquidity tokens, LP tokens. Now, you take those tokens and you go lock them up in the Tomb protocol. And what happens is if you do that, so locking that LP token is the signal that you are a supporter of the network, right? You are providing liquidity to the Tomb protocol. And as a reward, and as the process to keep Tomb pegged to the value of Phantom, when Tomb is above the price of Phantom, you will earn Tomb from your LP tokens. So you lock your LP tokens up on Tomb, and if Tomb goes above the price of Phantom due to natural market dynamics, Tomb is printed to you. You'll take that Tomb, you'll sell. So the way to leverage this is you take the Tomb that you get, you sell half of it for Phantom, you provide more liquidity, you lock up more LP tokens, and you get more Tomb. But a lot of individuals are just going to sell that Tomb on the open market because it's free money, right? This drives the price of Tomb back down to maintain the peg. Okay. If the price of Tomb falls below, you take your LP tokens, you lock them up, you buy J-bond, you buy T-bonds with them, and then when the price goes back up, you get a lot of Tomb at a premium, and that goes back down. I'm not an expert on this, and there's a lot more to it. There's bonds, there's the locker project, there's lots of different stuff that you can do in the Tomb protocol, but it's a pretty cool concept. So anyways, so following the success of Tomb and Olympus DAO and Wonderland for a while, but Wonderland's an absolute shambles right now. But following the success of those protocols, as people do in cryptocurrency, a lot of people just started forking off those projects, right? They'd fork the project. Hey, and it's pretty simple. Like this is what, I mean, like, I'm not mad about it. Nobody should be mad about it. Nobody should be like, this is terrible. This is just what happens, right? If you see that something works really well, that somebody else built or does, or teaches, then you're going to want to copy the master, right? This is how I learned to trade, right? Like I didn't know anything, and then this is it's funny. I'm not a huge Grant Cardone fan, but I was just watching Grant Cardone the other day, and this is what he talks about. He's like, when I want to learn something new, I find somebody who's really good at it, and I copy them explicitly. I don't change anything. I don't add anything new. I don't try to be creative. I just copy the master, right? Until I can do what they do, and then I start adding my own spin. I start learning the edges, right? Is what he says, right? I start learning the angles, right? Of once I know how to perform like the master performs, then I can start to research new angles with this new skill set. Okay. So Tomb's very successful. Olympus DAO is very successful. Wonderland's very successful. And so, you'll have a lot of developers or just a lot of people, a lot of hackers or whatever, I don't want to say that in a bad way, like not that hackers are a bad thing, but they're just going to fork the project. The code's open source. They take the code, maybe tweak a few things, deploy it to the blockchain, and do some marketing, right? And so a while ago, like early in January, I got kind of excited by this, right? I took some money and I started playing these Tomb forks, right? Kind of getting, following them on Twitter and kind of getting excited about it. And, initially I made quite a bit of money. But what I realized was, that if you chase unrealistic, I knew this before, but listen, we're all guilty sometimes. If you chase, in cryptocurrency, you vote with your money, right? In cryptocurrency, you vote with your money, right? So what coins you buy, is you signaling what you support, right? Or what you believe in, or what you think's cool, right? It doesn't matter. It's all the same, right? You vote with your money. Okay. And this is especially true with like liquidity pools and dexes to use and protocols and all this kind of thing. Even what blockchain you use, right? So you vote with your money. And if you vote for crappy projects that are spinoffs, knockoffs, subpar, two devs, no community, no marketing, no funding, no roadmap, then you're going to get burned eventually, right? Because there's a lot of individuals out there, and even groups of individuals that are just out there to take your money, to take advantage of you. And you fall prey to that if you let them, right? And the way you let them is you have to vote with your money. So it was fun for a while. I even made a premium mentoring session about it. But I'm no longer doing that because it's the same concept, right? Like, it doesn't matter like each, and I think that a lot it's true with like a lot of these NFT projects, right? Like there's a lot of cool things about NFTs, right? A lot of use cases. But I think a lot of the people I see anyways are just chasing this like garbage JPEG art because it's hot right now. And that's all fun and cool, but it's not sustainable, right? And if there's one thing I've learned from the money that I've made in cryptocurrency or just from my success in the industry, it's that focusing on what is truly valuable in the long term and being consistent with that is the real route to success, right? And not just like paper success, actual success, realized success. So to your question, do I trust third-party protocols? Yes, but only if they're really good, and I have faith in them, and I believe in them, and I've done my research. So for Terra Luna, for Spirit Swap, the Phantom Network, I've done my due diligence. I like them, and I think they're undervalued. So, and they also provide me a really good yield. So, yeah. All right. Looking fresh from a dip by their Gravy Grits and Green. Big love to you and your family, Justin. Sorry again that I crashed the group chat yet. Oh, it's all good, man. It's all good. Crypto Bug, Joe, Mud. Guys, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys' positive words about the group. Meta is actual shit. Meta rugged. Yeah, I know we're rather late. I'm just trying to keep everybody happy. You know what I mean? How do I feel about Ethereum being a security and Vitalik going to prison? We really haven't seen anything like that. I think so. Well, consistency is one thing we have not gotten from the U.S. government regarding cryptocurrency, but one thing that's been like relatively stable is the fact that Bitcoin and Ethereum are generally not considered securities. So. What's my thought on Solana? Okay, so here's the thing. You follow the talent, right? So there's a lot of, I kind of want to wrap the stream up, but there's a lot of hullabaloo right now because of about 300, I think it's 230 million or 320 million dollars worth of Ethereum that was just hacked from the Solana network, right? So this is it was a wormhole bug. Wormhole is a bridge. Wormhole is a bridge from Ethereum to Solana. So it allows you to bridge your funds or your tokens or your crypto assets that are on the Ethereum blockchain over to the Solana blockchain. So what happened is a hacker exploited a bug in the wormhole code that basically took all the wrapped Ethereum that was, or all the Ethereum that the wormhole protocol had that was backing all the wrapped Ethereum. So once you bridge Ethereum over to Solana, you have wrapped Ethereum on the Solana network, right? So Wormhole actually is holding the Ethereum that backs that wrapped Ethereum, and the hacker found an exploit that allowed him to fake a transaction essentially, or not really to fake a transaction, but to fake a sign off from the Guardians, right? Guardians are protocols on the Solana, in true Solana fashion, protocols on the Solana, smart contracts on the Solana blockchain. And that allowed him to essentially say that he had access to all these funds and bridge all of the Ethereum or wrapped Ethereum back to Ethereum, right? So he basically stole all the wrapped Ethereum from the Solana blockchain. Okay. So people who have wrapped Ethereum, so for a while, people who had wrapped Ethereum on the Solana blockchain, it wasn't backed by anything. It was just a worthless absolute meme coin. Okay. Wasn't wrapped Ethereum is only valuable because it's backed by Ethereum. And this hacker stole all the Ethereum that backed all the wrapped Ethereum. Now, some of you guys might not know this, but Jump Jump Trading is one of the biggest funded trading firms in the world. They've certainly got at least 50 guys dedicated to crypto, right? They are a VC investor in the Solana blockchain and in Wormhole protocol specifically. So Wormhole has already tweeted this morning that they have replenished the funds. They just stocked the Solana blockchain back up. The bug that allowed that to happen has been fixed, and life goes on. Solana has a lot of VC backing. Sam Bankman-Fried is one of the smartest people in cryptocurrency. He's a huge Solana supporter, and so I don't think Solana is going anywhere. It's a pretty cool blockchain. So, can I show you a picture of my lunch? We need proof of stake. I fucking love you guys. It is going to be a salad with a grilled chicken breast. Do I even own an NFT, bro? I got a couple, man. Oh, Mervyn Skidmore. Any thought on PulseX? Yeah, so I sacrificed I don't know, it's like 16 Ethereum or something like that. So yeah, I'm in, bro. I don't like Richard Hart at all. But he followed through on Hex, man. He followed through on Hex, and I missed the Hex train. So I allocated some risk for 2022 to the PulseX. So yeah, let's do it. John Family Eddie says, since I started watching your streams years ago, thanks, man. Many more crypto YouTubers have popped up. What are your thoughts on the Moonboy tubers constantly feeding their new viewers bullish news? I mean, listen, I've made it a point of my personal life to get to to achieve success and to just move through life purposely on my own merits. And part of that means that I make a conscious effort not to speak negatively of others or to tear others down. So, honestly, I think that it would probably be better, if there wasn't so much skullduggery, on the YouTube. It's really easy to just fire up a webcam and just say whatever you want to say, and hell, I'm guilty of that sometimes. But here's the thing: I'm not going to fault any of these guys for trying to make a name for themselves and trying to establish themselves. Like, when I started off in trading, I didn't know anything, and you could have looked at me and my opinions at that point in time and said that I didn't know anything. And even when we launched the premium trading group, there's times I've gotten things wrong. I've certainly made a lot of people money, but I've also lost people money at times. And the best thing that you can do is just be consistent and grow. And I think that, hey, if they're putting themselves out there and they're trying to grow an audience and a fan base, or just a following, I guess, more power to them, because you don't know how they will evolve from that, right? A lot of these, there's ones obviously that I'm not a big fan of and that I think that are negative for the space. But, I've seen like Bennett, for example, like Bitcoin Trading Challenge. I really like Bennett. I've had him on the stream a couple of times, and, he started off kind of making, clickbaity, scalping videos. And now he's like the master of open interest. Right. So, so he's evolved tremendously. What's another one that comes to mind? It's another one that comes to mind. It's on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, I mean, there's a good smattering of the ones that get a lot of views that are just, but I've seen quite a few, I've seen people start off with the wrong intentions and they evolve from that. So, are they gonna, I guess that's all I got, bro. All right, guys. With that being said, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's start heading for the exit, and we'll kind of go here, right here. Thank you guys for joining me for another episode of the Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. Hopefully you enjoyed today's content. If you did, make sure to like this video on YouTube, subscribe if you have not already to the channel, because we do come here as often as possible for our technical analysis, our news analysis, and our fundamentals. And give us a follow over there on Twitch or DLive if you have not done so already. It really does help support the channel and lets me know to continue making this content. We are going to be starting a giveaway and for people who retweet or share this on social media. So I will have the full details of that, but you guys will really help out the channel if you go over to Twitter and retweet and share the YouTube link and the tweet that contains the YouTube link. So really appreciate that, guys. Leave your comments down below if you have any questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, and or death threats. I will do my best to get to them as quickly as possible. Hot stock tips are also appreciated. So I will be back tomorrow with another exciting episode of the Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. Until then, trade safely, guys, and make sure to tip your waitresses. Cheers.